So the kid found some documentation on this HVAC unit. Let me see if I can rewire it. The first thing I'm gonna do, turn the power off. See if we can go upstairs and rewire it now. So here's where I think the problem is, right here, this splice. This wire here, me and the kid got this ran down to the thermostat. It's a 7 wire. And I believe we need 6 wires for this system. But he's telling me, you know, the guy that installed this, you only need 5 wires. So that's what he has. He has a 5 wire. So we got a 7 wire going to a 5 wire. He's got blue to white. I mean, come on, bro. You can't match the colors up. So that's what we're gonna do. I got a new piece here. Another piece of 7 wire. So I'm gonna connect it at this splice, and then I'm gonna run it over to the unit. And hopefully that's what the problem is. Because right now, I need this white to white. I need the blue to blue. He's got blue to orange. I don't know what's going on here. I don't know if he was colorblind or what. See if we can handle this. So here's the documentation. Here's what we got right here. And it clearly shows 6 wire. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I don't know what he's talking about. 5 wires. It clearly shows 6. And yes, we need W. We need white. So that's what I'm going to try to do here. So that last clip was yesterday. I spent about 2.5 hours working on that unit. I couldn't video it, of course, because there's no room. I'm squeezed in there like a sardine. So I wound up hooking that white wire up to the unit. I hooked it up in the unit. I went down, hooked it up to the thermostat, and the heat still wouldn't work. I put the yellow back to the Y, and the heat wouldn't work. So it was time to go last night. I mean, I basically gave up. So what I did was I disconnected the white again at the thermostat, and then I hooked the yellow back up. Yeah, I hooked the yellow back up to the Y just to have heat, just so she could have heat overnight because it was cold. So today I went to the job, and on the way there, I decided to just Google HVAC near me. So I did, and I got a girl on the phone. I was talking to her. I explained to her the situation. We just had this installed in 2022. It's like a year old. And I told her that, you know, what's going on. I said, only the AC works. The heat pump will not turn on. So I said, but if I switch that wire, if I take the yellow from the Y and put it to W, where the white's supposed to go, I said, then the heat works, but then the AC doesn't work. So she said, all right, I'll send the tech out. So anywhere between 3 and 7. At 2:30, I got a text message with a picture of the tech and his information that he's on his way. And they told me it'd be $120, you know, to check it out, tell me what's wrong with it, what the problem is. So he comes out. I told him everything I could, you know. He goes in, he looks, he checks all the wiring. He said the wiring's fine, you know what I mean? After I redid some of it, yesterday. And because I went off of that booklet, you know, the documentation, I went off of that. I followed everything to a T. So the tech was out there for 2.5 hours today. About 2.5 hours he was there. He was all frustrated. He couldn't figure it out. He said, I don't know what's going on here. So, you know, me and him, we went down to the compressor, and we were talking about it, and he was looking in there, and he said to me, he said, look, I'm gonna push the contactor, and if this doesn't fire up, I'm leaving. You know what I mean? So he pushed the contactor, and it fired up. But it will not fire up with the heat when it's wired properly. So he actually reconnected that white wire, but it still wouldn't work, you know, the white wire to the thermostat. So he wound up calling one of his co-workers, and they're going back and forth, they're talking, and they both said the same thing I said. they're asking about the circuit board. You know, why is there no circuit board? Apparently, you know, Carrier, I don't know, they're on some other stuff, you know, the way they work. But, you know, if you had a circuit board, at least you could see everything and see where the wires go. But no, this is just wires in a box, and you got to figure it out. So eventually they figured it out. It turns out the problem was the installer had 5 wires going to the thermostat when it needs 6. It needs that white wire. So he didn't have that. We connected that. But it also turns out he only had 5 wires going to the compressor. So for the heat pump, you need 7 wires going to the compressor. So what he did was he had a 7 wire running from the compressor up to the attic. But for some reason, he cut it short. And then he connected a 5 wire. He spliced a 5 wire to the unit. Well, that was the problem. They finally figured it out because they were testing each wire with a meter, and they found out that there was no common and there was no orange wire going down to the condenser, and that's what you need for the heat pump to turn on. So they finally figured it out. He hooked it all up, and we're all sitting there. He turned the switch on, and we're sitting there for a while, and it's still not working. So they were basically getting ready to give up. And then all of a sudden it kicked on. I guess it's got a 1-minute delay. It kicked on. So I got a clip of him going down and checking it and celebrating. So I'll play the clip now because I thought it was pretty good seeing him celebrate like that. I think this was the first time he worked on a Carrier unit. He told me, he said, listen, I'm going to give you a piece of advice. Never, ever, ever get Carrier installed. You know? So that was the piece of advice he gave me. So I'm going to play the clip now, him celebrating. Yeah, real quick, I forgot in that last clip. I wanted to tell you the price he charged me. So it wasn't $120. It was $376. So being that I'm the idiot that referred the installer, I referred him, I took the hit. I just put it on my credit card. It is what it is, you know what I mean? I'm not, you know, I don't do that. I feel guilty, you know. But my customer's great. She wanted to split it with me, and I told her no. I said, no, we're not doing that. I said, I feel bad that I referred the guy, and he couldn't handle the job. So I paid for it, you know. So let me show you him celebrating. And it's blowing cold-ass air. That boy is warm as shit.
Took some wire nuts off and put them back on. Maybe I had it right, man. This is sick. Let's go, dude. Alright. Yo, you don't crazy. And contractors here, they had a guy that dude, he plugged through 5 wire in the middle of this whole like he had 8 wire going upstairs. He had 8 wire coming out of the air handler, and then he had 5 wire going outside. Like I don't, and he had, dude, and then like none of the guys, like I switched probably 14 times. Okay, so I just saw a baseboard going downstairs. This guy, I asked him about it, and he said there was something about it that pipe didn't roll or something, so he disconnected. I have no idea. That was my first statement.